video I send you? Can you auto-tune me?
That is awesome.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny, bro. But I was like, come on, dude. Like, I love being part of all that stuff. That's also like stepping out of your comfort zone, right?
Yes.
Like being able to try something different. It's like living your life, living your life, but just living it just a little differently, like trying different things. And so for myself, bro, I've been like, bro, ever since I locked on with you dudes, bro, I've just been saying yes to like everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, yeah, bro, you know?
Yeah,
I
buddy.
didn't know what to say, dude. I met you fools, bro, and you guys got me off my butt, bro, and started grinding, dude. I'm back on the grind again, dog.
It
feels good.
Man, bro.
It feels good.
It does feel good, dude. I like to grind, bro. I like to grind. It always feels good because when you actually earn something, it feels so good, bro. It's not like something given to you. It's like something that you put the time in, put the work in, and you earned it, bro. And like,
no doubt. It's just like going through the minor leagues, man. It's like you get to that pinnacle, whatever that is, you know, your pinnacle. So for you, the big leagues, like you're pumped to be there and there's a lot more work ahead of you, but the stories in the grind, like the memories are in the grind. Like if it was easy and the process was just like you never hit any roadblocks, like you talked about hitting roadblocks in AA, like those are the memories that you remember.
Come on, bro. The greatest victories come from the greatest defeats. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, like, think about it. Like, would Michael Jordan have been Michael Jordan if he wouldn't have gotten cut from the 9th grade team?
You know
what I'm saying? Would Mike have been the same? You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what makes you want to talk to guys like Mike Trout, because he probably has things that he feels like he's not successful in. Like he probably feels like he should hit 400 every year. Yeah. So like hitting 330 is probably like,
he's like, bro, down year.
Everybody else is like, man, if I can hit 260, like I'm pumped.
I'm like, bro, just get my OPS above league minimum, bro. Let's go, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like league average and like a tick above, bro. You know what I mean?
Right. Are you guys excited for tonight? I'm super excited.
It feels like it's been longer than a week. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, we've been doing so many things, man. Prospect Dugout's exploding, bro. Like we got so many different things going on. We got the experience at the end of the month, which is great. We're working on knocking out that fall league, Craig. I mean, like, bro, we've been grinding, boys. Like we have been getting after it and doing doing as best we can to try and help, bro. There's just a lot of
here we are right now trying to help on our 7th episode of Kicking It with your boy Swish.
Is it already the 7th, bro? It's the 7th?
Bro. Actually, it's the 8th episode. My bad. Last week was 7. We on 8, bro. 8 episodes. That's 8 weeks.
No, man.
Woo! Hey, so thank you, everybody that's watching on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter, on Twitch. You are joined in live. I'm your host, Joel Hartman, with my co-host, Craig Maddox, and the star of the show, your boy Swish, Nick
Star, bro. Makes me feel good, bro. It's like the first time my wife, it's like we were walking out of the house and, I talked to my old agent, Danny Lozano, who's amazing. And my wife hops on the phone and goes, you want to talk to the real star in the house? I was like, okay, you're right. All right. Just because you got your Netflix thing going, girl, just because you're on top of the world right now.
Yo, I'm going to jump right in. We're going to bring Dylan Cupp in right away. We're just going to get started.
Yeah, let's get him in here, bro. I saw the lineup, man. We got some studs coming in here today.
Yeah, man. Oh, there he is.
Oh, yeah. What's up, kid?
Just waiting for his audio to join. What's up, Dylan? How you doing, buddy?
Dude?
Hey, you're on mute.
Muted
up. Muted. Hit the mute button. There you go, buddy. What's up, man?
What's up?
Let's go. What's up, stud? How you doing, baby?
Yeah.
How's everything going, man? You just get done with practice or a game?
No, we played earlier today, and we all came out and ate and stuff. They're in there eating, but I had to come. I was coming out here just to be quiet,
There you go, man.
Yeah,
how you
appreciate
doing, bro?
that.
You doing all right? You glad everything's getting back in the swing of things?
Of course, it's been awesome. Like getting back on the field and stuff. Like it's like I worked like the whole break and stuff. So now it's like time to show off all that work and stuff. So I'm having an absolute blast.
I love that, bro. Well, thank you so much for calling in, my man. You got a question for us?
Of course. So your routine as like how important is your routine like every single day? Obviously every big leaguer has their thing. Some guys get there, 8 o'clock in the morning. Some guys get there an hour before game time. Like like how important is that routine?
Well, I think that's the thing, right? The routine is so individualistic. Like it can be your routine, which is great. Because at the end of the day, if you're producing and you're posting the way that you want, then keep your routine the same. I can only comment from this, bro. Like my best years of my career was when my routine was solid. Like there were no holes in the routine. From the moment I showed up to the ballpark to the moment I went home, I knew exactly what I was doing. I was laser locked, focused, the whole nine. And I can also tell you this, as a human being after retirement, when you don't have that routine, when you're not going to the ballpark every day, and instead of hitting fastballs, I'm changing diapers and like, you know what I'm saying? Like life changes. So don't think that your routine can't evolve and can't change, because it has to. And at least for myself, and I'm sure Craig and Joel and these guys even doing the same thing, when your routine in life is very consistent, even with my daughters, I try and do the same thing. I try and put them in a consistent routine, because then you know what to expect. Like for you, there's no guesswork. It's like, for me, like trying to teach kids how to catch a fly ball or catch a ground ball, I want to teach them step by step. And that's your routine, D. Like that's all it is to try and find out exactly what works for you, right? Because if it doesn't work for you, guess what? We can always change it. And there's nothing wrong with that, bro. It's like, it doesn't have to be a concrete thing. It can be one of those things that evolves and either changes from day to day or has just slight adjustments. Because for somebody like me, once I found that comfortable routine, I just stuck to it, bro. It was like Wade Boggs eating chicken every day, right? Like that was his thing, right? You know, like for me, bro, I wish I could do that, bro, but I can't, you know? So I had to do some little different things than Wade Boggs. But I think at the end of the day, D, like I would challenge you to start to lock that routine in, right? Like you're getting ready to go to the collegiate level, right? You understand what's next. You understand the challenge that's ahead of you, right? Like this is when you can start to talk to people, right? Like ask guys like, hey man, do I need to get to the ballpark 8 hours before the game, or can I get there like a little closer, right? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes guys get to the ballpark too early and they think too much, right? I played with plenty of guys. I mean, Bernie Williams is a guy that comes to mind. He'd show up like 20 minutes for a stretch, bro, and just play all day, you know? So it's all finding exactly what works, because at the end of the day, baseball is such an individualistic game made up as a team. You have to do your part for us as a team to be successful. So whenever that works for you and whatever that routine is, stick to it, bro. Like it doesn't matter. Derek Jeter, bro, used to wake up at 7 o'clock every morning, eat breakfast, and then go back to sleep till like 10. So like that was his thing, right? Because he wanted to make sure he had the calories in. Like, bro, he was like, come on, bro, he's the captain, dog. He does everything like perfect. You know what I'm saying? So like for somebody like you, I would just challenge you, bro, because as you get older and as you continue to grow in this game, things are going to alter a little bit. And that's cool, because you're learning about yourself more and more. You're finding the things you like and you don't like. So for myself, bro, routine is so crucial, not only to being a successful baseball player and understanding the task at hand, but also as a human being, also as a collegiate student, right? Going to class, like your weekly schedule, getting yourself into that routine of, hey, I got practice every day. I got to hit the books every day, right? I got to do my part and find time in my day to be able to accommodate all that stuff. And even as a coach, I can honestly say Craig can give a little more background on that than me. But even for him, I'd probably would say the more consistent he sees his guys coming in day after day, I would say more consistent work it ends up being more consistent on the field. Wouldn't you say, Craig?
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually hit on this in our Giants meeting this week. So this is an awesome question.
Yeah.
We wanted to define the difference between process, and I'm sure everybody's heard trust the process. So difference between trusting the process and having a routine. So trusting the process is a link thing. So you're going into college, maybe your process is, I want to go into college, I want to grow as a baseball player, and I want to try my hardest to make it at the professional level. So that's your process. But within that is your routine, right? So your routine's going to have to change year by year, circumstance by circumstance. So we talked about, at the minor league level, don't get too stuck in a routine. Have a broad routine that you're comfortable with, because there's going to be days that you show up to the ballpark, you get your BP in, and you might have a pregame routine, but it downpours right before the game.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And you don't want to be the dude sitting in the clubhouse being like, oh, my routine.
My day's ruined, bro. I didn't get to
I'm
hit.
screwed. Like, no. Right. Like, so the routine always has to be interchangeable and moldable, but there should be a broad, like Nick was saying, like Jeter would get up and eat his breakfast. But I guarantee you, if Jeter like balled out one night, or they went into extra innings, 15 innings, and he got home late and missed that breakfast, like, dude, Jeter's the captain. Like,
he's still gonna rake, bro. He's still gonna rake.
Like he ain't worried.
Yeah, he ain't getting flustered with that.
But the process for Jeter in becoming, and I doubt he would ever wanted to, thought about being the captain as great as he is, but I'm sure he worked towards that. Mm-hmm. Like, that was his process. He never wavered off his process, even though his routine might have gotten mixed up. So, to what Nick said was right on point. Like, your routine has to have the ability to grow and to mold as you learn yourself as a player.
Yeah, well, also too, D, like you're gonna keep moving up the levels, and all of a sudden you're gonna find out the things that you're actually not that good at, and you're gonna be like, wow, bro.
Right.
Instead of like pulling all those home runs at BP, maybe I might want to shoot some balls to right. Just, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't let your routine be flexible. Let it be able to alter, right? Because like Craig said, that was such a great point. Because what happens if it rains and your entire routine is crushed, right? Don't let that affect what's going to happen at 7:05. Don't let something that happens at 3:30 affect what's going to happen when it comes showtime,
I got you. Okay.
Okay. For sure.
All right.
Dylan, can you tell us just a little bit? You're committed where?
The Mississippi State.
Oh, that's it. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Oh, watch out.
Man, I seen it, bro. Starkville, baby. Coming to get you, dude. Stark Vegas, baby. Let's go.
Yo, can you do me a favor? Can you give us a 20-second elevator pitch of who Dylan Cupp is? Just tell us about yourself. 25 seconds.
So I'm from Cedartown, Georgia, small, town in Georgia. I'm a shortstop. I'm 6'1", around 170. I'm going into my sophomore year. I'm pretty. I work extremely hard. That's what everybody says. But I mean, I've also as I've grown, trying to find the consistency part of it. That's what I've been struggling with is the consistency. That kind of led to my next question. To you guys was like how, when you play 162 games a year, all right, how do you keep your swing and your body feeling consistent? Because that's a lot of time for something to change or for something little to throw you off. Like, a lot of stuff can happen in that period of time. So how do you keep everything consistent and simple?
Yeah, I think that if you play 162 games and you are only focused on the result of those 162 games, bro, It's going to be a long season, right? It's going to be extremely long. I think that's what happens is you look at the whole grand scheme of things. And it's almost like, even for myself, right? It's like, I've got 2 daughters, bro, and they make a mess everywhere, bro. Barbies, dresses, all over the place, right? So if I look at my entire house and I'm like, man, I have to clean my house, that sounds like a crazy, hard, long thing to do. But if I just start cleaning room by room and room by room, next thing you know, the task is done.
Yes.
So for you and looking at a 162 game season, I mean, bro, I was blessed. I think I played something over 1,500 games, which was wow, bro, that's a lot. Right. But at the end of the day, all I was doing was taking each day for the day. Because if you start looking so far ahead, D, you start to forget the things that you have to take care of now, right? That's actually why it's called the present. Mm-hmm. So I think for myself, don't look at the whole grand scheme of a season, because it's going to go like this, bro. There's going to be ups and downs throughout the whole year. You're going to be on fire, right? And then all of a sudden you're going to be horrible for a little bit. And then you're going to be good again. So if you look at the whole season, it sounds like a crazy long thing. But if you just start piecing it down, game by game, at bat by at bat, room by room, I'm telling you, not as daunting of a task for sure. Especially once you start playing, because you go to college, all of a sudden you're going to start playing 50, 60 games, bro. Mm-hmm. And if you're lucky, you go to get in the 60, 65, and then you're going to be in, it's still in Omaha, right?
Right.
College is still in Omaha, right? So at the end of the day, don't look at the grand scheme of things, bro. Take it down a little bit, because then it's not as daunting. It doesn't seem like it's hard of a thing to do if you're looking at it just little piece by piece.
Right. And what I've always heard is instead of keeping them, real steep, high, low, keep it kind of,
totally. Bro. And you know what? I can. Billy Bean, the general manager of the Oakland A's, told me that my first year was going to be like this. Right. And then my second year in the big leagues, it was going to be like this. And then my third year, it was going to be like this. And then my fourth year will start to loosen itself out, right? Because you got to be you, right? Like I'm an emotional guy. Like, bro, I cannot run onto a baseball field and feel like I want to rip my jersey off, you know?
Right.
Like, there's just a love and a passion that I've always had for the game, and that's how I approached it. So even using Derek Jeter as an example, I will never be Derek Jeter because I can't keep my emotions under control like that. So if I'm not good at that stuff and it hurts my game to harness it in, why harness it, bro? Like, let it eat, baby. Like, be you, dog. Because I'm telling you, D, the more you grow up, bro, and the more you learn about who you are on the inside, the more confident and consistent of a player you're going to be, because you're going to know how you feel in those situations. Right. You're going to know how you feel when you go to practice and it's been a while since you got on the field. So I think for you, man, it's just like we're all stoked. Like, we're stoked you called in, but we're also excited to see the growth of you as a kid and just and turning into a man and heading into that next level, bro. Because like, that's the cool part, is like actually going through a little bit of those struggles to actually learn what you need to do to get yourself better, right? We were actually just talking about this before we got on. Would there really be a Michael Jordan if he wasn't cut from his 9th grade team? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I think, right? So I think like Michael Jordan got his butt kicked early in his life so he could dominate at the end. And I think that's something to remember. That's, you know, from some of the darkest times have been some of the brightest lights. You know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And like right now, I'm struggling a little bit at the plate right now, struggling a little bit, but I've just told myself, like, don't let it affect my defense. And like, next at bat, I'm gonna go 1 for 1. And like, if I don't go 1 for 1, then I'm gonna go 1 for 1 my next at bat, So that's just how.
Hey, brother, guess what? If I don't get a hit this time, I'm coming up in 8 batters, baby. So you better be ready. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I love that, man. Well, D, thank you so much for calling in, my man. Appreciate you, bro. Best of luck, man. Hey, man, Prospect Dugout, we here for you, brother. Good luck, baby.
Good luck, brother.
Keep in touch, buddy. Alrighty.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Oh,
yo,
bro.
That's awesome.
That's huge,
dude, that's so good, bro. This whole routine stuff is crucial.
Yeah,
I mean,
no
like
doubt.
being able to have a routine and understanding what you need to do to get yourself better and to improve your game is crucial, right? He's a sophomore, bro. He's a sophomore. He's already committed, bro. Like, that's crazy. They plucking these dudes young, bro, for real.
That's it. So we're here on Kicking It with your boy Swish. That was our first caller. We got our second caller getting ready to come in. But dude, like, I gotta ask you a question, Nick. What is on your head? What is that hat?
Bro? You don't know my boy Nas right here, bro?
What?
Woo! Come on,
Nasty
man. Just
Nas.
sent this to me. Oh man, I feel fresh, Nas. I got you, bro.
So,
you, man, this right here means so much to me. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was one of the first callers that we actually got to have on Kicking It with your boy Swish.
Yeah.
And we just hit it off, and we continue to talk to this day. Obviously, his baseball talent is one thing, but I think his creative mind and his ability to brand himself is amazing. And he came out with these hats, bro, and I hit him up immediately. I said, bro, send me one of those hats ASAP. So he did.
Buddy.
I just got it today, man. I'm so proud to be wearing this because I
Heck
think that's what it is, right? This is what Prospect Dugout is. We're creating this community of of backing and promoting, and to be able to have the ability for myself to meet these young amateur players and to connect on a level, and then to get gifts sent to my house, bro. Like, come on, like, this is what it's all about for me. So, like, bro, hey, Nas, if you watching, dog, I'm so proud of this hat, man. Like, I can't, hey, man, and it fits smooth too, bro. You know what I mean?
That's it.
And
That's
the logo
it.
is nasty.
Yeah,
bro.
buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Let's go, Nasty Athletics. Let's get it, baby.
Let's do it. Hey, so let's jump right in. We got a question on Facebook from Marissa Brett. She wants to know, what is a good way to get back into things even though we've been working at home?
You mean just getting back into the game?
Yeah, because she said they're at their first practice back on the field in a while. So
yeah, I think the same thing. I'm actually going to piggyback off of what D just said a minute ago. He said, yeah, I'm kind of struggling at the plate a little bit right now. I think there's probably a lot of people that are going through that same thing right now. I mean, not everybody's Ted Williams and could just roll out of bed, just rake. Right. That's not exactly how it goes. I think there's guys that it's even like at the beginning of a baseball season. You see the studs that come out in April, but then all of a sudden they may tail off in September. So it's all about just getting that consistent work, getting yourself out, and more than anything, just having a love for the game. Because right now we haven't been able to do something that we've loved for a long time. So just to be able to have the ability to go out and be on a ball diamond right now with your friends, just hanging out, enjoying the game, That's, in my opinion, right now, I think that's all people really need to worry about right now. It's just getting back and enjoying it. There's no scouts out there scouting anybody right now. So right now, if there is a time to have fun, right now would be the time to have it. Because I'm telling you, like, sometimes people put a little more stress on themselves during the game than they should. And I think at the end of the day, just like love it, like go outside and enjoy it. Just be happy that we could get outside and take a big breath of fresh air, because it's been a long time since we've been able to play the game we love. So more than just, more than the numbers and the base hits and the stats and all that stuff, bro, I understand it. People want that. At the end of the day, man, you got to have a love for this. And the fact that we haven't gotten a chance to play for a minute, I think that love needs to shine through more than ever right now.
That's it. Well, welcome to the show, Rhett Lowder from Wake Forest. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how are y'all?
Yo, what's up, Rhett? What's happening, bro?
Good.
What's going on?
Oh, we got internet connection issues.
No, he's there. He's coming back.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, there he is. All right. What's going on, Rhett? What's your question, buddy?
What you got for us, Rhett?
All right, so it's basically one question, but it's got multiple parts. So basically what's the hardest part? I might piggyback a little bit on the last guy, but what's the hardest part about moving to the next level, whether it be high school to college, college to minors, minors to major leagues? It's just like everything is so different. It's just like whether it be games or whatever it is, everything is so different. It's the same game, but it's all different. So what would you say is the hardest part between each level?
I just immediately right off the bat, I think the most immediate difference from at least college into the professional level is that you're not with mom and dad anymore, and you're not living at home, and you're on your own, and you're by yourself. And when you run into those 0 for 4s and you're used to either having like your girlfriend or your mom or your dad or your buddies to be able to talk to after the game and to be able to physically see them, sometimes in the minor leagues, they're not always the greatest cities. So you might not be in the spot that you want. So I think that is the first immediate thing for me, is that you immediately grow up as a human being when you get to college, and you are automatically on your own. Because then all of a sudden it's like, hey, you got to make sure you have money to go get food, right? Like you got to make sure your clothes are clean. Like you got to make sure your sheets are washed. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of things that we've never, at least for myself, I had a grandma that did all that stuff, man. So like I was so blessed to be able to have her in my life. So I think that when you move on to that professional level, not only do the skills improve, which I think we just know that's going to happen. I think it's kind of the X factors that you don't really think of. The fact that you don't have your support group right next to you all the time. And sometimes that's hard, at least for myself, man. Like my family's always been my rock. They've always been there for me from Jump Street. And I'll never forget, bro, when I left Parkersburg, West Virginia, and went all the way across the country to Vancouver, Canada, it was just like, bro, where am I right now? You know what I mean? So I think that's the first immediate thing that really pops up for me. I mean, if you want me to break down the differences from A ball to AA and AA to AAA, we can get into that. But I think more than that, man, it's just about going out and just like learning more about yourself, right? Just understanding exactly how life works and how you have to do it when you don't have those people that are normally used to being around you all the time.
Yeah. So I've heard some, like what I was had in mind was like you go some of your rookie ball games, they might have more people at your high school game than there will be.
Hey, bro. Rhett, I can tell you this, bro. I was in AAA 2014, Sacramento, California, playing for the Sacramento River Cats, bro, AAA for the A's. And we were mashing, bro. We had like maybe 12, 14,000 a game, right? All of a sudden, I get called up to the big leagues, bro. We go to Oakland for our first game. There's like 6,000 people there, bro. I'm like, where is everybody? This is the big leagues, right? You know what I mean?
I know.
You're right. And I think that's the biggest thing. I also think that's kind of like what's going to happen with a lot of the athletes this year in general. We're actually seeing it right now on the golf tour, right now on the PGA tour. There's no fans. Like we saw Justin Thomas pretending to wave to people. Like, but I'm telling you, when there's nobody watching, it's hard. I can honestly say this from this, it's almost like whether it is high school and you had like everybody to like minor league ball and you got nobody. It's even the same thing for myself. When I left the New York Yankees and I went to the Cleveland Indians, it wasn't the same vibe. I know. Things were a little different in one to the other. So I think you're always going to run into those different atmospheres. I just think you need to make sure that you're ready for that. I mean, come on, Craig. Like, bro, you know the difference, bro, between like, independent ball, high school ball, and now you're in professional ball in the DR. I mean, like, bro, there may not be a whole lot of people at the game,
Exactly.
Exactly, man. And Rhett, you said you're committed to Wake Forest.
Let's go,
Like,
bro, man. I love these dudes.
Hey,
man.
that's an ACC. Like, you're going to some big time schools that pack it out. Like, you get drafted and you go to Missoula, Montana. Like, it ain't gonna be the same, bro.
Like, a couple dozen people in the stand.
No,
I mean,
they're gonna be like a Village Inn and like a Denny's, bro.
It's Denny's. 24
over
hours,
every
baby.
All day.
So it's a bit, like it's a big reality check for those guys. But the process is just like Nick said, like learning yourself. Right. So you're going to be in college. You're going to be at Wake Forest. You're going to have a time that you got to go eat breakfast. You're going to have a time that you got to be in the weight room. You're going to have practice. You're going to have coach on top of you because he wants his program to be successful. So he needs you to be successful.
Yeah.
You're going to go to pro ball and guess what?
It's
You're on your own. So take those lessons that you learn from Wake Forest and implement those into hopefully your pro career. And you will be successful. But it's the guys that go and all of a sudden they get attacked with all this freedom and they lose the routine that got them where they're
it's
at.
a little longer, dog, and people go crazy, dog. They go haywire.
Exactly. So it's about keeping that routine, man, and being laser focused on where you want to go, because for anybody who comes into professional baseball, like getting there is not the goal. That is not the goal. Getting there is the first step in a long process and
Tell them that second thing, Craig. What's that second one? Staying
there.
All right.
Exactly.
That's it.
Hey, Rhett, look at it like this, bro. Even for myself, like I'm 39 years old, bro. I retired when I was 36. I grinded for the first third of my life and have everything I could ever want. So if you look at it that way, bro, I never took a full vacation until I was 36 years old.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there were way more important things that I had my mind on than spending a weekend at Lake Havasu. By the way, I'll Lake Havasu, and I'll buy all the boats over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's about grinding out, getting yourself in that position, because, Rhett, you never know how many opportunities you're ever going to get, bro.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Rhett.
Amazing opportunity you've got right now. Continue to keep grinding on it, my man, for sure, bro.
Hey, Rhett, before you get into your next question, will you give us just a quick elevator pitch? We want to know a little bit about who you are. Tell us a little bit about who Rhett is.
Oh, let's hear it, dog. Let's hear this.
Okay, this is interesting because, I was always very small. Like I've been tall since freshman year. I've been tall, but I've been small. So I was never the hardest thrower. I'm a pitcher, right-handed pitcher. So we always command. You know how it is. They always preach it, but that's what got me there. I had some offers when I threw 83 to 85, just as like that was me. But now that I took a bigger jump, I'm up around low 90s with a changeup that is pretty good. That's what I'll say. And then I'm working on a breaking ball. It's developing, hoping to get that elite. Fastball and changeup, I would say, are there. But then that breaking ball is the next step that I'd like to take, which is hopefully when I get to that next level, it'll develop. So.
That's amazing, bro. My dad always said this, bro. And my dad was a catcher in the big leagues for 10 years, bro. He said there's no better pitch, bro, than the fastball changeup combo, bro. And
exactly. That's what I've heard. Changeup is I love it. I mean, not a lot of people ask what my favorite pitch is. I'll say changeup, and they're like, oh, okay. But I mean,
right? Well, the thing about it is, man, it's like now, it's like even for the past couple of years, people have started using the word tunneling. And I think that is such a great vision and a great word to use for pitchers, because the hardest pitches that I ever saw, even from one of my best buddies, David Robertson, who's a closer for the Phillies now. Call me John. Bro, like he would throw that low cutting fastball, but then he would throw a slider right off of that fastball, off of the same plane. And bro, it would bounce like 2 feet in front of the plate, and I'm hacking at it. You know what I'm saying? So like to be able to have that fastball combo, that fastball changeup combo, man, I'm telling you, especially college kids, bro, you could eat them up, dog. You eat them up, man. You hit your locations, you use your change speeds, lock in with your catcher, bro. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
What you got next for us, Rhett?
All right. Well, I don't want to take too much more time because that was pretty much it. that was a longer question. So here it's kind of it's more of a personal thing, but I was just wondering, what's the toughest thing for you, like coming out of a right-handed pitcher? Like what bothered you the most?
Well, I think the biggest thing is like you're saying, and it's funny because I was actually talking about this earlier today. It's just the location, right? The ability to command your pitches. Look at a guy like Justin Verlander, who has just been spotting fastballs from 2006 till now, bro. Like the dude has such amazing fastball control. And I call the fastball just like the run in football. You have to establish the run in football if you want to. And I feel like you have to establish your fastball if you want to be a successful pitcher. Look at Garrett Cole. We just signed him. I was able to actually stand in on one of his bullpens, bro. And it's just amazing on where he locates the fastball and what he wants to try and do. Because even though he is a power pitcher, his game relies and moves off of his fastball. And I think most of the most successful guys in the game have the ability to locate that fastball wherever they want, just like Greg Maddux did, bro. No matter how fast the speed, whether you Jordan Hicks throwing 105 or you Greg Maddux throwing that two-seamer coming back at 86, it doesn't matter. It's all about where you put that. And I think what's going to make you as a pitcher better is your ability to know your opponent up and down, right? Like knowing their weakness, knowing what they eat for breakfast, bro. Like I think for myself, that was one of those things that you wanted to try and do, was trying to get know your opponent so well that you knew exactly what they were looking for, you know, and to be able to expose those weaknesses.
Exactly. 100%. I agree.
Every hitter has holes, man. It doesn't matter if you're Mike Trout. It doesn't matter. They have hot zones and
Barry Bonds, bro. He didn't have no holes, kid.
one guy.
One
guy. But your ability to be consistent, just like Nick said, in those zones, especially at the collegiate level. If you got a good catcher and a good coaching staff, which you do at Wake Forest, no doubt, like they're going to give you the template and say, especially in the ACC, they have so much data on guys that they're going to say, this guy has this hole. And your ability to consistently attack that hole is going to amplify your success. Not that he stands up there and can throw 97 and just sling it middle of the plate. Like he's the dude that's standing on the mound looking like, you know, he woke up on Christmas morning with no presents. Like, because he just took.
That's a bad feeling, bro. It's a bad.
Somebody just took his 97 dead central. Like, what?
But at the end of the day,
he thought he did it. He thought he did his job.
At the end of the day, bro, it's like hey man, it don't matter how. And what's cool about it, Rhett, is that you've been successful not throwing hard, and now you're just now starting to throw harder. So you're actually not a thrower, bro. You know what you are? You're a pitcher.
Yes, sir.
And that's 100%. What we're looking for, bro. We're looking to get people out, man. Yes, I love somebody lighting the gun up at 99, but if you missing that thing middle, baby. Like,
it doesn't help.
It's gonna be a long day, bro. Like high school kids gonna be whacking that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think just for you, man, like you're in such a great spot. You've got such a great coaching staff, bro. Your future's so bright, man. We're so happy you called in, bro. We really appreciate you. Man. Best of luck to you, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you,
man. You got it.
Hey, thanks, Rhett.
Yep.
Thanks, bro.
Yo, that's awesome. Dude.
Oh, I love this show, dog. Like, it's so cool to not only that, he was like, yeah, this is a personal question. Like,
right.
You know, I think the thing I like the most is like, I love baseball, but I love motivating kids, bro. And I love listening to their stories and listening to what makes them tick.
Yeah.
Like, more than anything, man, when somebody calls in, it's like, hey, man, this is something that I struggle with. Like, you know, not everybody else struggles with this, but this is something that I struggle with, and not be afraid to talk about something like that. Because when you're vulnerable, you're at your best because you're learning. You're so open. And for myself, you know, to have the honor to be able to be on there with all these kids, I don't take this lightly because I know when they call in, they're really trying to get some answers. And I'm trying to give them the best I can give because I think it all branches back to the passion of the game and the love of the game. And I also love the fact that Rhett wasn't throwing 800 miles an hour as a freshman in high school.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I like that. I like the fact that he learned how to pitch at 83 to 85. And it's like your son, Joel. Like, bro, he wasn't throwing 100, bro. He was throwing 81 a couple years ago?
Yep.
So he had to learn how to get tricky right? Like how to spin his breaking ball, how to grip his changeup a little differently than most. And guess what's happening now? Now all of a sudden he's running up there 90, 92, bro. You know what I'm saying, right? And now he's getting a little more cocky, bro. He's got, but I love the kids that struggled early in their careers.
Oh, yeah.
Because they understand what a loss is.
100%.
And they're working themselves up to winning, which is amazing, bro. I love that.
That's it. Hey, Nick, we're gonna get into a little rapid fire with you, but can you just give us a 25 second of what this show's all about?
Yeah, man. Hey, this show is my baby, man. Like after meeting Joel and Craig, they came up with the show, Kicking It with your boy Swish, and for myself to be able to be here and to give some sort of a perspective for amateur players. And maybe the way I say something is a little different than the way you've ever heard anything before. Yeah. I'm a motivator. I love this stuff. I want to see kids accomplish everything they want. Every kid that calls into the show, I want them to make it to the big leagues. I know that may not be possible, but at the end of the day, I want kids to walk away from this smiling and being like, wow, man, like, I love that. It was the best hour of my day. And for myself, man, to have the honor to have our own little show like this, especially at the Prospect Dugout brand, for us to be able to do our best and help kids and give them the ability to promote themselves and to be seen by people that may not have the ability to see them. That's what we love here, man. And for myself, along with Craig and Joel, man, right now, more than anything, man, it's a time to help. And right now at Prospect Dugout, we want to do our part to help everybody that we can. And for myself, this is the best way I can help is giving back. 12 years in the show, special advisor in the front office, bro, Fox Sports. It's like there's no part of the game that I haven't seen. I don't know all the answers. And if somebody does stump me with a question on this show, I promise I'll call somebody and get the right answer because that's what it's all about, man. Like it's a grind. Game wasn't always easy for me, just like Craig as it was for you, Joel. So for us, man, we grinded, bro. We took some L's early in our life to right now for us to be winning right now. So to be able to have a show like this, bro, is amazing. I love it. And for everyone that calls in, man, I can't thank everybody enough for this. It's dope.
That's awesome. All right, let's get into rapid fire real quick. Okay, I got 3 questions for you, Nick. Who is the toughest pitcher that you've ever faced?
Oh, bro, I knew you were going to say that, man. I knew you were going to say that. So 2 dudes really pop out in my mind right now. Francisco Rodriguez. Remember?
Oh, my gosh.
Bro.
My gosh.
Hey, man. Hey, back in the day, it was.
Jeff Kent looked like, whoa.
Bro, like this. Like, oh, you know what I mean? Not only that, he had 97 when 97 wasn't that was like, you didn't even see it. You just heard it.
Yes.
It was him and John Lackey, bro, who had an amazing career, bro.
Bro, yeah.
So many years. I remember Lack, bro. He used to wear me out on those breaking balls early in my career, bro.
He would just stare people down, man. He'd just be looking right there at you.
Yeah, and not only that, bro, he's like 6'6", bro. He's a monster, dude.
Yeah.
Like, so I think those 2 guys really pop out, man. I mean, obviously the Justin Verlanders of the world, the King Felixes of the world, all those guys. But for me, man, the Angels, bro, they put it on me, bro, early in my career.
For sure. All right, question number 2. What is the best away city that you played in?
Oh, man, no doubt. Wait, what are we talking about? Just the overall experience in the city?
Yes. Not the stadium, outside of the stadium.
I could honestly say it was probably Boston because Fenway, bro, is unbelievable. Just the energy, the fire, right? Also, too, Philly is amazing. Baseball's in Philly. The Chicago Cubs, bro, no doubt. And here's a sleeper city, Seattle, bro. It's like the cleanest city, bro. Like, I had the best time. Every morning I wake up, go down to the fish market, get all sorts of seafood, bro, get to the ballpark at like noon. They had a chef in there named Kenny. He used to cook it all up for all of us guys, man. But
that's awesome.
Myself, bro. So my favorite times, man, were in Seattle for sure.
All right. Last question before we bring in our next caller, Termarr Johnson. Do you like the ocean?
Yeah, bro. It's so funny, man. I've actually got me and my wife and my girls. We actually rented a beach house, bro, for like the next 3 weeks, bro. So I'm gonna be doing this, kicking it with your boy Swish from the beach next week, bro. Can't wait, dude. I've got my first free diving trip coming up this weekend, bro. Yeah. I'm getting my scuba diving license, bro, in a couple weeks. Let's go, bro. Let's
do it. All right, we're bringing in our next caller. His name is Termarr Johnson. There he is right there. What is up, buddy?
Oh, man. He got
the poster in the back.
I see you, bro. I see you.
That's what's up.
Sir.
How you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, bro, we're doing amazing, man. We have so much fun on this show, bro. We were actually just talking about that a second ago. Man, I got a chance to check out your Instagram feed, bro. Man, you got game, baby. You got style for sure.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you so much for calling in, bro. We appreciate you, man. What's your question for us?
Definitely. I'm gonna start off with you. So what is a takeaway you should give like to all hitters? You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think the biggest thing is, and for myself, you got to remember, I came up before the analytic wave, right? So the way I was taught hitting is a little differently than the way that you're taught hitting. I think the one thing that you and I both shared the same is we got to get the barrel to the baseball.
Definitely.
Right? At the end of the day, man, guys throwing 100, 102. We were talking last week, Lorenzen, he's talking about the road to 110. I mean, could you imagine, bro, somebody throwing 110 miles an hour? That's crazy. Like, bro, push it back. Push it back. You know? So I think for myself, I think as the velocity in the game moves up, that doesn't necessarily, the swing effort needs to go up. For myself, I always think that barrel control is the greatest thing a hitter can have because the power now is supplied by the pitcher. Doesn't necessarily need to be supplied by us because I can promise you this, T. You square up 100-mile-an-hour fastball with the barrel of the bat.
It's gonna go.
Right,
it's gonna go.
Man. So like,
it's gonna go.
Yeah, so like I understand getting the data and the exit velo and the whole nine, but I think consistent barrel control would be my biggest thing that I would try and teach my hitters because if you can't control the end of your bat and you don't know what that feels like, that's where the trouble lies. Because at the end of the day, T, you only going to be going up the ladder facing tougher pitchers every year, right? And now all of a sudden with pitch logic and, you know, Rapsodo and Edgertronics, you know they're going to start coming out with some crazy pitches here in the next couple years. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be like, wow, this is like that screw knuckle change or something like that. So you know they're going to do something funky. So at the end of the day, if they're going to keep trying to change what they're doing and they're going to keep trying to trick us, we got to stay within ourselves and we got to be able to control the barrel because we work so hard to be in the weight room and we pump ourselves up and we get our bodies physically strong enough to get in the batter's box to do what we need to do. That means where the strength is already there. We don't need to be going, you know, all out, you know, just taking monster rips. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I like taking a monster rip every now and then because it feels good. But 1 out of 20 baseballs you'll be able to connect with on that monster rip. For myself, some of the furthest baseballs I've ever hit in my life have been with 2 strikes. So what's that tell me? That's when I'm at my shortest and quickest position. So I think that now with where the game is going and the power and the velocity of the game keeps going up, the thing that I would want to tell my guys and my hitters is to be able to control the barrel of the bat. Not everybody's Aaron Judge, but not everybody has to be Aaron Judge. Dustin Pedroia got an MVP to his name too. So at the end of the day, for me, I think barrel control is so crucial. I think you have to have it because I don't care how big and how strong you are. If you can't make contact with the baseball, then all those muscles are for nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think for me, just a consistent approach with the barrel of your bat would be the one thing that I would think that most hitters would want to take away.
Hey, Termarr, we were talking earlier today, and you said you were up at East Cobb. So why don't you go ahead and just give us a little rundown what was going on today, and then give us, you know, maybe 20, 30 seconds about who you are as a person and a baseball player.
Well, definitely. East Cobb today, we played, I think, 5-star, this team called 5-star. And, yeah, we won. You know, definitely. We have a great group of guys. Christian Moore, Michael Braswell, my brother Termarr Johnson, Andrew Armstrong, just a lot of guys. And we're pretty amazing team. So, you know, we just get it. We got it done there, and we came out with a win. About me, you know, I'm more of a hitter. I think that's the best takeaway for me. I want to say I'm a hitter. I have a good approach, and I just I know what pitches to hit. I know what pitches not to hit. And people say I have like a big league approach, but I feel like, my approach is great. You know, I'm very rangy around the infield. I can play anywhere. And my actions are like a Dominican. And I know, and I have great knowledge of the game, and it's pretty much it.
I love all that, man. Also, too, man, we were actually talking about this a little bit ago, you know, and just how nice does it feel just to get back on the field playing again?
Definitely. Ooh, definitely.
No doubt. You're like, bro, it's like, take
long time coming.
Off, you know what I mean?
That's it.
Definitely.
So what you got next for us, Termarr?
Another question for Swisher. I would have to say, like, how mental is the game from, getting drafted to being a big league veteran? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, huge.
How mental is the game?
And I can only say this for you right now. Right now, things are going great, and there's not a whole lot of struggles in life. As you go up the ranks, at some point in time, and maybe you're not, maybe you don't, and at the end of the day, I hope you never struggle. But I think at some point, you're gonna hit some struggles, and you're gonna run into that time, and that's where I think the mental side really starts to kick in, because I think a lot of baseball players get away on talent for so long because they're either just so much better than everybody. It's almost like in Little League, bro, when you're playing third grade baseball and there's a kid on your team that's like 6'4". You're like, what?
Yeah.
There's no way, right? But then all of a sudden, everybody's like sophomores in high school and everybody's 6'4", right? Like everybody's taller. So everybody kind of catches up to that guy. So I think at some point you run into a little trouble. And I think that's where that mental side really, really takes in. I think for myself, it didn't really pop for a couple of years in the big leagues because I just felt like I could just do it by myself. I was like, bro, I don't need any help. I can do this all on my own. Dude, how dumb was that? It's like the worst way to think about things. Now that I'm almost 40, bro, and I'm sitting on the other side of the game, now I think the biggest thing that I would do is just kind of like just ask questions, right? Like, don't be scared to be vulnerable when things are tough, because it's going to take a village to get you to where you want to go. You're always going to have those people that are always going to be there for you. So I think for myself, it hit me in Double-A. I don't know when it's going to hit you, but it hit me in Double-A when I was just like, bro, like, I don't know if I'm going to get out of here. Just wearing me out, bro.
Definitely.
And like, I've been at the ballpark since like 10:30 in the morning, bro, taking hacks, trying to find my swing, So I think at that point was when it really hit me. And at that point, you had a choice, right? We all get to make choices in our life. And for myself, that was just that moment where I was just like, wow, like this season's got to get done. I'm going to take it on the chin for the rest of this year. But then when I get that chance to get back to the drawing board, it ain't ever going to happen again. Mm-hmm. And I was lucky because I got dominated that year in Double-A, and somebody got hurt in Triple-A next year, and I got to start there. And I had the best minor league career of my life, bro. And that was only because I had that chip on my shoulder from the year before. And I remember how that felt. I remember how those 0 for 4s every night felt. And that was the last thing I wanted to think in that next year. Next year, bro, popped 29 of them things, bro. Got to the show.
Yes, sir.
That was just one of those things where it was just kind of like, yeah, that's okay, right? You can get beat up for a little bit and you get knocked down, but you ain't going to keep me down. And I think I think for myself, that would be a trait that I would want to give my guys, to not be scared to get beat, but to understand that sometimes that's going to happen and that you're going to have to fight through some adversity in your life.
Definitely. Okay. Nice.
I love it, T. I love it, man, bro.
I love it. I love it too.
Trophies and stuff all over the place out there, man. I see you, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're so happy you called in, my man. You got anything else for us?
I think that's it. Those were the main two questions that were on my mind.
That's cool. That's cool.
Hey, man, I see a prospect dugout, man. We can't thank you enough, my man. Like, we will be following your career for sure. Not only your career, we'll be following you on the gram for sure. Best of luck to you, my man. Anything 100%. You need, we're always here for you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, T. Sounds good, buddy. Take it easy.
I'll see you,
buddy. All right. Yeah. See you, buddy. Bro, energy, crazy. Dude, love it.
I think the biggest thing for me is just like literally like watching these kids smile, man. Like, I love that so much because I think that maybe it's
what it's all about, man.
Game needs,
man. That's it. And speaking of smiles, we got to give a shout out to one of our guests on Kicking It with Swish, Mr. Zack Daniels, who got drafted.
That's right. See, that's right,
Houston
man.
Astros.
Yeah, bro. I mean, like, was that our first Kicking It with your boy Swish draftee?
Yeah,
that was.
I think so.
Right, man. I reached out to Z. I talked to him the other day, man. Like, he is so excited. And wow, I mean, this year's draft was so crazy. Only 5 rounds. There were a lot of guys that maybe thought they were going to get the ability to play after high school, but move on to that collegiate level, or at least try and figure out what the next step is. So for Zach to be able to do that, man, come on, bro.
That's
like,
cool.
That's amazing. We need to have like a list. We need to have like an honorary like a graduation list. Or something. You know what I mean?
Yo, so the thing that I took away from Termarr when I asked him to tell us about himself, he immediately went to his teammates. and started shouting out his teammates. He wasn't even about himself. He was about the guys that were around him and just giving them love and supporting them and just saying, hey, what a great job we did today and how well we worked together. So, I mean, I love that, man. That's awesome.
Oh, man.
That is awesome.
The fact that somebody with the talent that kid has, bro. Come on, man. Like,
he's a beast.
Wow, bro.
He's
amazing
a beast.
Player. And
he's a 2022.
I know. Talk about other people. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
When he could come on there and he could be like, yeah, I was player of the year here. You know what I'm saying? But that's not him. And I think that's something that, especially for myself as an evaluator, that goes so far with somebody like me. And especially for us at the Yankee organization, like that stuff as a player means so much to us. Because for us, it's easy, right? You know, like our best player is our best role model, and that's Aaron Judge. And the first thing you hear about him talk about after the games is his teammates or what somebody else did, not the 500-foot home run he hit. It was maybe the ground ball that Brett Gardner cut off in the third that saved a run from scoring that ended up winning the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you're good, you tell everybody. When you're great, everybody else tells you. You see what I'm saying?
That's it. Hey, so our next caller is quite different than Termarr. He's an uncommitted 2021. But before we bring him in, Joseph Price, I got a question from the Facebook comments. Swish from Lou Flores. Swish, will you ever consider managing a team?
Oh, bro. Yes, let's do that. You know what? Yes. To answer that question, yes.
It's an easy yes.
Yeah, easy yes, bro. I don't know whether I'm going to be a manager. I don't know whether I'm going to be a general manager. But I think I have too much love for the game of baseball not to do my best to try and give back and to try and make it better. I think I've just been so blessed along the way, and I've received so much guidance and help along the way. And for myself, I think maybe one of my greatest tools that I have is my communication. And I think right now that plays well. I think right now you have a good idea of who's going to play because of algorithms and the way analytics are. So for myself, and maybe the approach of just making sure you bring everybody together, right? Like I watched The Last Dance, right? Phil Jackson is like the man, dude. Like he's way more zen than me. But at the end of the day, take a little bit of Joe Madden, take a little bit of Phil Jackson, and mix them together. And that, in my mind, would be the ultimate coach. Because now it's about going through the tough times. After you've gone through tough times in your life, it's amazing to have a coach put his arm around you and be like, hey, man, it's going to be okay. Like tomorrow's going to be a better day. Because for a guy like me, man, like literally, bro, that would just mean the world to me. So I'm glad my boy Joe Price over here, bro, got that.
How's it going?
He figured out that camera.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to have to watch the show like this.
Yeah.
What's up, Joseph?
How's it going?
What's up, buddy?
Nothing much. Just got finished hitting in the cage with some of the boys that are in town for my tournament this week.
Nice, bro. How nice it to be back outside, bro. Playing a little baseball.
It's amazing.
Here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Love that, man. Love that, bro. Well, what question you got for us?
One of my questions was what was the hardest thing to overcome in your career? That was like my main question that I was really curious about.
Yeah, I think just the failures. I think that's really easy, bro. I think it's just like baseball is a game surrounded by failures, bro. At the end of the day, there is no job other than maybe the weatherman that can be successful 3 out of 10 times and have a job on Monday morning. I just like, if you're successful only 3 out of 10 times at work, I'll be like, bro, you need to find something else to do. But in baseball, we're going to Cooperstown. So I think that's where players need to understand that it's not easy. And it's not for everybody. And I also think that's something because for myself, you know, my little nephews, bro, they're 12 years old and they're starting to play their games. And every parent thinks their kid's going to the big leagues. And I love that. But at the end of the day, that's not the truth. So I think for myself, understanding that baseball is tough and there's going to be a lot of failures that come along with it. But I also think along those failures, you can learn a lot about who you are and how you can be successful in life. Because it's not only about being successful as a baseball player. I can promise you, you will be a human being a heck of a lot longer than you will be a baseball player. So for myself, I think it's all about being able to deal with those adversities, learn from them, and learn who you are as a human being. Because JP, at the end of the day, bro, like you're awesome. You know what I'm saying? And like, regardless if you go 4 for 4 or 0 for 4, that doesn't tell me who you are. That doesn't tell me what kind of person you are. Like you're still going to be the same dude to me tomorrow as you was today. You see what I'm saying? So I think just where you are, understand that things aren't always going to be easy and you're going to get knocked down a whole lot It's whether you choose to get back up that matters the most to a guy like me.
Awesome. Yeah. No,
Like,
that's something that I
hat right there,
really,
bro. What you got on that hat right there? What is that?
Valor. That's my club team that I just joined. It's my national team.
Oh yeah, let's go, bro. I like that logo, dog.
Yeah, we're number 1 seed going into tomorrow in playoffs.
That's nice, bro. I like that, man. I like that.
2-0. PG Select West out here in Surprise, Arizona.
Oh, how's the weather out there, bro? Is it nice right now?
Hot. It's
hot.
hot.
I was gonna say, bro, like you got a sauna, right? Like a big hot lamp right above you.
Yeah, it's 105 out now, right now.
Hey man, don't you hate it when people are like, yeah, but it's a dry heat.
Oh gosh.
Like,
Yeah.
Go home.
105 is 105, man.
That's it. Hey, Joseph, before you get into your next question, can you give us a little rundown of who you are as a player, who you are as a person, so we know?
Yeah, so my name's Joseph Price. I live out here in Arizona. I've been playing baseball since I could walk. I'm class of 2021. I go to Boulder Creek High School in Anthem, Arizona. I'm a middle infielder, mainly a second base. I'm pretty short. I'm like 5'8", 140 pounds. So I'm pretty medium to smaller frame, but I find ways, gap to gap hitter, get on base and do whatever I can to help my team win a game. So
you want to know what I love most about you, JP, right now, bro? Is that you know who you are, right? You're like, I know what type of player I am, right? I'm a gap-to-gap guy. I got to get crafty sometimes. I get on base. I cause some havoc. Like, I love that. You know, I love that the most because that's you. And I think that's the biggest thing that kids need to understand is that you have to mimic your game around what type of person you are and what you bring to the ballpark. Because at the end of the day, Jay, like for me, bro, it's like, it's going to be hard for somebody like you to be Giancarlo Stanton, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you can't be Giancarlo, don't be Giancarlo. Like, be JP. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for you to understand that about you, bro, like, I could not be more proud of you because that, I think, is exactly what it boils down, right? Like, I always say for kids, if your launch angle is a can of corn to the left fielder, maybe launch angle's not for you. You know what I'm saying, right? So, like, at the end of the day, what's great about it is, like, hey, Dustin Pedroia, bro, was 5'8". Maybe he was like 170 pounds, but he got an MVP to his name, bro. So, like, for you, man, like, hey, I understand you may not be 6'5", but not everybody's 6'5", bro. So I think the thing that you have ahead of everybody else is you know who you are. And I could not be more proud of you for that. Because if more people understood that, then more people would understand how to work to perfect their game.
Thank you. Yeah. That was something that I really had to learn really recently too. I remember being not too long ago, I was getting really upset because I have a stepbrother. He's 6'3", almost 200 pounds, and he's dropping
like a big, beefy guy, right? Dropping
and then
bombs.
there's me. Yeah, he's dropping bombs.
I hate that guy.
So I'm over here. We got Little League fields by where I live, and he's dropping bombs left and right. I'm hitting wall scrapers, and I was like 12 years old and I couldn't hit a home run still on like the Little League fields. And I was getting upset. And I remember I threw a rock and it hit my dad's windshield. And that was the moment where I'm like, all right, I really need to learn, like, I'm not a home run hitter, you know, like I'm a gap to gap base hit, try to hit the ball at the middle, right back
bro,
at the
that's
pitcher.
what you are.
Yeah.
I love that, man. I think that is so crucial. We were actually just talking about this with TJ a little bit ago. Talking about kind of like, you know, what hitters can take away. What's the biggest thing that hitters can take away from? Not everybody is a dip the shoulders, spine angle, tilted, the whole nine, because that doesn't always work for everybody. Craig, I can promise you this. You ain't teaching every player exactly how to hit the same way, correct?
Correct. Absolutely. It's all based on an individual, man. And the better that you know yourself, the better you can promote yourself to colleges. Because you're 2021, right?
Yes, sir.
Uncommitted?
Yes, sir.
Oh, hey, everybody take a peek. Take a peek at my boy JP.
Exactly.
We're gonna get him there, dog.
Come check him out. But the thing is, you know who you are. So you can contact a college coach and say, this is what I bring to the table. I'm not going to come in saying that I'm going to hit you 20 a year. Like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you. And this is what I can do to help the team. And that way, the college that you commit to eventually, and you will commit to a college, then your role's already set up. The coaches know what to expect when you're coming in, so they can plug you in. They're not saying, hey, this guy's going to walk on campus and we'll see where he falls. Like, this is where I got this guy plugged in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by the way, every great team that I've been on has been a player like you, JP. Right? When we won the World Series in 2009, you remember Jerry Harrison Jr.? He wasn't a home run hitter, but he was a scrappy guy that got on base and did everything that we needed him to do to help us win ball games. When I was with the Oakland A's, I don't know if you remember a name by the Marco Scudero. He was one of those guys. Come on, bro. Like, these guys had amazing big league careers. And guess what? They were little guys and they weren't home run hitters, but they knew who they were and they knew what they brought to the ballpark with them every day. That for you, JP, is huge moving forward because, hey, bro, you're going to get in the weight room and you're going to put weight on and you're going to get bigger and you're going to get stronger. But knowing who you are on the inside and what type of person you are is so much more than all those muscles you can put on the outside of you for sure.
Dude, and I think
every winning team has that guy. Think about the Angels. Think about a guy, not a lot of people.
Adam Kennedy, bro. You remember him?
What about David Eckstein?
Oh, World Series MVP.
Whoa.
That's a blast right there. Hey, bro, I think he got a Camaro or like a Corvette that year, too.
And exactly. And he probably got pulled over because he didn't look like he was even 16 at the time.
Right, bro. How
don't do it dirty like that.
Like, no, I'm David Eckstein, World Series MVP. And he's like,
exactly. My man was, what, 5'6", 5'7"?
5'5"?
Like, but every winning team, you look back in every winning team, yes, they're monster dudes, but they always have the guys that fill in the gaps.
Yes,
they always do.
So, Joseph, let me tell you this though too. Beyond all that with the MVPs and this and that, like if you don't know who you are as a player and you're out there trying to hit home runs and you can't hit home runs and all of a sudden you're swinging through balls and you're missing, you're going to get down on yourself, man. You're not going to be happy playing the game of baseball. You might give up, but if you know who you are as a player, you eliminate that long fly ball and say, that's not even me. If you miss one, you hit a long fly ball, it is what it is. But next at bat, I know I'm coming up looking to drive that ball the opposite way or lay down that bunt if I need to, because that's who I am as a player. And that's going to keep you happy. If you think of, a power hitter, he gets called to bunt on, he's pissed off. He's not a bunter, right? But that's who you are as a player. You're a gap-to-gap hitter, like you said. When you get up there and you do that, that's what's going to keep you consistent in the game because your mental, right? The mental side of things. If you're trying to do something that you're never going to be able to do it, and you're going to be punching the air, man. You're not going to know what's going on. So
I would much rather you be a first-class version of yourself rather than a second-class version of someone else.
Yeah.
Wow, how about that one, bro? I read that today, by the way.
There you go.
I was trying to drop it in there today, bro, for sure. I read it today.
Yeah, I feel like if you get too mixed into the mental side of the game and you're trying to do this and that, be someone who you're not, then you're not focused on the team, and then you're not going to win ball games.
Yeah.
If you're too focused on yourself and you're just being selfish and not being a team player. So if I know my role on the field that can benefit myself and everybody else on the field on my squad, then I feel like that's what I got to do.
Who is this guy?
Hey, college coaches, take a peek. Let's go.
Yo, coaches, come get this dude. Come get this dude right here. Because if not, JP, you're going to be on my coaching staff one of these days.
Bro, man, you're going to hold a team together, man.
I'll be like, hey, man, you better listen to this boy JP down here, dog. He'll teach y'all a little something,
That's it, man. Hey, you got any more questions for us?
Yeah, so since we're talking about the mental side of the game, I was wondering if you ever have been in one of those situations where, you were just mentally not there, and how you how you just got yourself back into it, or what you had to tell yourself, or what you had to do to get yourself back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, you go through your streaks, and you go through your good streaks, your cold streaks, you go through your hot streaks. But I actually want to tell a little bit of a story of actually going through something like this and getting down on myself and actually never getting back up. And that was at the end of my career. When I had my double knee surgery, bro, and they peeled my meniscus and I was bone on bone at the age of 35, that's when things started to go bad because I couldn't train the way that I wanted to. I didn't have the power that I wanted to. And so I think for myself, looking back on that situation, that I actually never did get back up. I got knocked down and I got down on myself and I never got back up. So I think I want you to learn from a mistake that I made, because at that moment it was hard for me to imagine that I had to change the type of player that I was. I was the same player for the first 11 years of my career, and all of a sudden the injury popped. And then I tried to come back, and I just wasn't the same guy. And it was hard because you get so used to being a certain guy that I should have taken a page out of your notebook, by the way, bro, and actually looked in the mirror and looked at myself and started looking inward to understand exactly what type of player that I was after the surgeries. Because if I would have understood that, then maybe I might have scratched out a couple more years in the big leagues. Maybe I would have stayed on a team for a little more rather than thinking that I was the 4-hole hitter that I always was. Maybe I was an 8-hole hitter at that point. Maybe I had to be a 2-hole hitter and just bunt guys over or roll balls over to the right side to move that runner to third. But I can honestly say, bro, like thinking back on it, man, I never did that. And now that I'm talking to a guy like you, bro, like I've learned so much just in this last like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because like, do as I say, not as I did. Like learn from those mistakes, right? Understand who you are. Because for myself, if I would have known that I didn't have the same pop and I didn't have that first step or that same explosion, then maybe I could have been a better teammate. I could have been a better player for my team at that time. Because the only thing you're really trying to do as an athlete is just to get the best out of yourself every day. And I think for myself, now looking back on that situation, not knowing who I was, bro, is like, I could have done a better job with that, you know?
Yeah. Joseph, I think for me though, if you take it and you look at it this way, if your question was, if you're mentally not there, how do you get back into it? Well, if you're struggling, if you don't feel like you're ready to go, 2 things I want to suggest. Number 1 is remember your dream, remember your goal of where you want to be. And then number 2, go back to all the training and the hard work that you've been putting in and say, you know what, I've been working hard at this. I may be struggling right now. I may not want to be here mentally. I may not be, my mind may be somewhere else, but you know what? I've been putting in the work. I know that I'm good. I know that I'm confident. I know that I've been through struggles before and I've made my way out of it. Just because I don't feel it right now doesn't mean I'm not going to get out of it. So giving yourself a little bit of a pep talk, you got to put that vision in your head to say, this is where I'm going. Sometimes we lose sight of that vision and we're like, you're like walking around in a dark room. You don't know where you're going. But if you have that vision of where you want to go, then you can use those experiences that you've had to give you that confidence to say, you know what, I can get back up and I can keep going.
Yo, JP, I want to give you one more piece of advice off of Joel's. And this comes from my wife. She's an actress. And sometimes she said to me, Nick, sometimes you're going to have to fake it till you make it. And at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to pretend like you feel good until you actually feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like
definitely.
tricking your mind into feeling the way that you want to feel.
Exactly, because those at-bats are going to keep coming.
Yeah, they keep coming, bro. Hey, you coming up every nine batters, bro, for real.
That's it. So you got to find that space to wash it. And that's the hardest thing. And I think Nick can tell you, Joel can tell you, any baseball player, the hardest hurdle that you will embrace in the whole entire game of baseball will be mental. It will be mental. We are programmed as humans to be successful. We are not programmed to be happy with winning 3 out of every 10 times.
Exactly.
Even though that's your ticket to the Hall of Fame. That's your ticket to a 20-year big league career. But nobody that's played the game, and Nick could probably tell you, he spent over 12 years in the big leagues, that he was probably never completely happy with his performance.
Oh, bro.
Just because
Yeah, because it's like
it don't matter. You can hit 500 and you wouldn't be completely happy because it's not the way we're programmed.
Yeah.
So the challenge is being able to detach yourself, give yourself small obtainable goals. So we've been talking about this a lot on this show, is take it at bat by at bat.
Yeah.
Or, we had the question about how do you sustain something over 162? Well, you don't. Because if you think that you can feel good for 162,
you're crazy, bro. You're crazy.
That's crazy. So, like, for me in my career, when I was playing in a pro season, you get 450 to 500 at bats, at least for the independent guys. So I would take it every 75 to 100 at bats before I started looking at what I was doing and wanting to make adjustments, because it's easy to try to make adjustments every 10 at bats, which that's a roller coaster of a season.
Yeah.
Wow. Big ups and big downs.
Yeah.
crazy, right? So give yourself some runway to let your routine or let something that you're working on play out, and then really have a specific time to focus on and evaluate, okay, what tweaks do I need to make? Right. So I would go 75 to 100 at bats, and then I'm going to look back and say, okay, where's my average? Where's my doubles? Like, I was a doubles guy. So where's my doubles? What do I need to do in my swing to generate more power? Like, am I swinging at bad pitches? Am I not catching the ball right to drive it properly? Like, then I would make the adjustment. And then, you know what? I would say, I'm going to give myself another 75 to 100 at bats to see how that process worked out. I'm not going to beat myself up making the adjustment at bat 100 and then at bat 105 being like, oh, well, this isn't working. I'm panicking. I'm going back to something else. Like, give yourself a runway, an ability to get it out of your mind. Like, I'm not worrying about this for 50 at bats. Like, I'm doing me. Like, the result, and then it's going to lay where it lays.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. A thing that my coach was just telling me, he was like, the good and the bad, you have to let behind you. You know, you always keep the good in your mind, but when you're up to bat, you don't want to be thinking about, like, you can't be satisfied with your first at bat, you know, double down the line or whatever. And then you get up to your second at bat and you're like, okay, well, it's okay if I ground out because I got a hit last time. You know, you got to flush it, everything. So almost like it's your first AB every single day. So
that's a good mentality.
Absolutely.
Dude, I love you, man. You're awesome, Joseph.
This dude is great, man. For real.
Great.
Thanks for calling in, cuz. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
All right,
Keep
man.
in
Have
touch,
a good
buddy.
day, bro.
All right, buddy.
Wow, bro. I learned so much from that dude right there, bro.
Jeez.
Like, I was like, bro, is this guy like, who
is he
that?
really a 2021? He's a high school player?
Hey, college coaches
way
out
wiser
there.
than his age. For
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to bring in
dude.
I'm going to bring in our last guest, Deshaun Williams. But before we do that, I got one more question from Facebook. And Deshaun's going to be our last caller of the day here on Kicking It with your boy Swish. My man, Nick Swisher, is a 12-year MLB vet, a World Series champion, an all-star, and you're special advisor to the Yankees GM, Brian Cashman. Dude, a lot of stuff.
How, bro? I don't know how.
I know how. Look at you. Look at everything you're doing, man. It is awesome. I got one more question from Facebook, and then we got one final caller, Deshaun Williams. We'll let him in. But the question is, Swish, who was your favorite manager that you played for?
Man, I had some good ones. Right? You know what I mean? Like, I came up, I had Ken Maka back in the day. I had Bob Guerin. I had Ozzie Guillen, bro. That was like fire, bro. That just didn't work out too well. You know, Joe Girardi, he was great, man. He was a winner. There's no doubt about it. I mean, won in Florida, obviously won in New York as well. Obviously just got the job in Philly. And I got to give somebody like him credit, because when he lost his job with the Yankees, he didn't get away from the game. He actually stayed in the game and worked for MLB Network. And I think that's the thing we need the most, is when baseball men leave the game, it's a sad day, because nowadays it's almost like, for me, it's all I want is to bring in just great baseball people, right? And I think that's all you want to do. So I can honestly say that probably, I don't know, I'd probably say Joe Girardi was one of those guys that, you know, we didn't necessarily always agree, but I really, really respected him, man. And just with all the success that he's had in his life, you know, I wish him the best of luck in Philly too. Hopefully he can bring the championship back to them.
That's it. Yo, Deshaun, what's up, buddy? Your microphone is muted, so go ahead and press that mute button so we can hear you. Yeah.
Oh,
what's up,
man?
Buddy?
What's up, Deshaun? How you doing? What's going on?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
We're doing great, man. We've had so much fun today. Actually, we're a little windy today, y'all. We're a little windy. We're talking a little bit today, but it's been great, man. Like, our minds have been blown. We've had some great guys on. We appreciate you calling in, my man. Hey, what's your question for us?
I have two questions. One would be, start with the easy one. What advice would you have on increasing speed?
Oh, wow. You know, it's funny, man. I was actually thinking about this the other day. Only because I got two daughters right now, so I'm actually thinking to myself, I wonder what sports they're going to play. But I think the biggest thing that I would have done differently and earlier in my life was I would have got off the bench press and I would have got on the squat rack, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got these little skinny fungo legs, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, like, speed was never a part of my game. So I think for somebody like me, I always wished I had something like that. But I think speed is one of those God-given talents, right? It's one of those God-given abilities that some people have and some people don't. Obviously, with the plyometrics and the flexibility and the yoga, obviously for myself, I started doing that later in my career because you can't pound the weights at 30-some like you could at like 20. You know what I'm saying? Your body takes that toll. It takes that beating. So I think for myself, I think you're going to notice as you get older and as you continue to keep playing and more wear and tear starts to take part on your legs, that the weights will drop and the stretching will increase and the yoga and the flexibility. Because I think we're even learning that right now with driveline and the strength of pitching, that it's not all about the strength that you have. You need to have the ability to put your body into certain positions to achieve that flexibility and that strength. Every Olympic sprinter has probably some of the best flexibility on the planet. They're not just fast because their legs are strong. They also have flexibility too. So that would be my thing. I mean, bro, I'm not the speed guy at all. I like to trot. You know what I mean? That was more, I like to do that more. But I think if there's anything that you could do, I mean, I think you're doing what you need to do right now is just asking questions. Yeah. Just ask around, be like, hey man, what, or, you know, get on the internet, bro, and search Aaron Judge's speed workout or D Gordon's speed workout or Billy Hamilton's speed workout. Like, what do those guys do? Or Ronald Acuna Jr. I'm just thinking about all these like flyers in my mind that just stealing 30, 40 bags a year, bro, because let's be honest, bro, I played for 12 years. I think I stole like 13 bags, bro. So
11.
Like, 11, bro.
I got it right,
bro.
I got it right here, bro. I got it right here. Actually, no, you're right. You had 13 stolen bases, but you had 15 caught stealing. What were you doing?
Oh, bro, man. And the only reason I had 13
man.
is probably because 5 of those are back ends and double.
Back ends and double steal. That's it. Hey, Deshaun, I was actually a speed guy. My fastest was a 6'4", something, 6'5". So, yeah, I used to fly back in the day, and I'm gonna tell you what. Oh yeah, I still can fly, but I don't need to right now. I just walk. Anyway, something that I would recommend is plyo work, box jumps, something that's going to help you be explosive, right? Because if you go and you watch Ricky Henderson, if you go and watch Carl Crawford, if you watch those guys, they're not taking a bunch of steps, right? Ricky Henderson is full speed in 3 steps. So you got to be off that line quickly. I would say if you're talking about base stealing, you need to go and watch the footwork, right? I know a lot of people are talking about, pivoting and this and that, but if you go watch every single legit base stealer in Major League Baseball ever, they're going to have a little drop step with that front foot, right? I'm telling you, they're having that drop step with that front foot so they can get their body turned and then get into that speed position, get to that top speed as quickly as possible. So if you're working on, like Nick said, squats, deadlifts, things like that are building up your lower half, definitely your core, right? Because you want to be able to stay tight in that core. If you're hunched over, if you're loose, right, you got to be tight in that core. Another thing is making sure when you're running, you're not decelerating, right? You want to make sure that you're getting the foot that's reaching out needs to go over that other knee and then reach out. Don't let your foot that's reaching out go below your other knee and kind of hit the ground at a deceleration angle, right? You want to be reaching out and pulling yourself forward. So the quicker that you can get to top speed, the better you're going to be. So essentially you should probably be at 10, 11 steps before your slide to get into second base if you want to be successful stealing bases.
Yeah, that's
go ahead.
Go ahead, Craig. Sorry, bro.
No, so exactly. I mean, if you want to go back and listen to a podcast that I did with D Gordon. So I played with D Gordon in college and lightning fast.
Oh, lightning,
right? Lightning fast. One of the fastest humans I've ever seen in person, besides Joey Gathright.
Oh, bro. Hey, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Him. Bro, you remember when he was jumping over cars and stuff back in the day?
I mean, yeah. But D Gordon, probably one of the fastest dudes in the big leagues. If I would encourage you to go back and listen to the podcast because I talked to him. I got to see him in college and then got to see him obviously where he is now with Seattle Mariners. And he's always been fast, but it was his process of learning how to use his speed. Right. And to what Joel said, D says in the podcast that he knows when he starts, he has 9 steps. He has exactly 9 steps until he needs to be sliding to get to the bag. So that's the process. So it's as much about getting faster is about learning how to use that speed.
Yeah, because
you can be fast. This game is not a straight line. And D says it best in the podcast. He says, like, I rarely reach my max speed, because he said, if I reach my max speed, I'm running 10 steps past the base.
Yeah.
Faster.
So it's an interesting listen. If you get a chance, definitely check it out. I mean, one of the fastest dudes in the big leagues.
Hey, Deshaun, we connected because a mutual friend of ours, Tim Battle, kind of connected with me and let me know about you. So I know a little bit about you, but I want everybody else that's watching to know a little bit about you. So give us about 30 seconds of who you are as a player, who you are as a person, where you're from, what you do.
I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, but we moved to Georgia. I play for Foundation Sports.
Oh, I like that team, man. You guys are like a beige color or something?
No, we're blue and white.
Okay, we're on a different team.
No,
different team, never mind.
Squad, bro. Wrong squad.
I'll go back on mute. Sorry.
I don't really know how to say this. Like, what do you guys want to know?
No, that's cool. That's cool, man. That's cool, man.
Yeah, bro, like, what position you playing right now?
I play center field.
Yep.
I usually bat first.
Okay.
So who do you mimic your game after?
Hmm?
Who do you mimic your game after? What players you like to watch?
There's too many. D Gordon's definitely up there though, 100%.
Yep.
D Gordon, Trey Turner.
Yep.
Yasu Puig is definitely up there too.
Yeah.
Ricky Henderson.
Well, you know, the thing I love about those guys is that with Trey Turner and D Gordon, both infield outfield guys. Started off either on the infield, went to the outfield, kind of like Craig Biggio, right? Like second base, center field, then he caught for a while. Like, I'm telling you, bro, D, at the end of the day, to be able to play multiple positions is such a crucial thing, because nowadays, you know, like, if you don't hit, you sit. So it's like, at the end of the day, we're fighting for bats anyway. So wherever we can do to get ourselves on the field. But I think for you, being able to find how to use your speed more in your game is your challenge, right? Speed isn't the challenge. Being able to use your speed is the challenge. And that's why Craig brought up a great point. Like, listen to those guys, right? I think Ricky Henderson was 8 steps. So at the end of the day, for you, it may be 9.5, right? So like, turn base stealing into a science. In the outfield, make sure your first steps are laser quick. Because at the end of the day, 70% of an outfielder's grade is based on his range. So if that's the case, then I want to make sure that my first steps and my breaks are so crucial. I'm not banana routing anything. I am straight lines to every ball everywhere. So I think for you to be able to be somebody that has speed as a center fielder and a leadoff hitter, I think the biggest challenge that we at Prospect Dugout would want you to do is to find more ways to use that speed and to be able to utilize that speed more.
Yeah, for sure. You said you had 2 questions, right, man? What was your second question?
The second question is when you're struggling, when you're doing well defensively, but you're struggling at the plate, like, do you have any advice for that?
Yeah, at the end of the day, bro, like, you better be good on defense, because like, we're just battling trying to find ourselves spots. I think that's where that is the thing that I guess will start to separate people from high school and college, because I think you've seen that kid in high school that's slamming his bat, and then he'll go out in the field and make 2 errors because he just struck out, right? I guess for me, I tried to take so much pride in my game that I always prided myself on not letting either side affect the other, because it can't happen. It just can't be, because the game is too valuable. I got my pitcher on the mound. I need to get his back. I need to be given everything I have for him every time that I take the field. When I get in the batter's box, that's on me, and I'm cool with that. But on defense, that's the team part of the game. That's the ability for all of us to be out there together to help our pitcher get 3 outs every inning. So I think for you, it's like, as you get older and as you learn a little bit more about yourself, you'll be able to separate those two. It's frustrating sometimes, no doubt, especially if the umpire makes a bad call, runners on, tight game. Like, there's a lot of things that happen, and I'm sure they've already happened to you, and you've probably gone through something like that, where you get out to center field and you're just standing there and you're thinking about nothing other than, man, that umpire, bro, he just rang me up. I can't believe that. That's the worst. So I think just do your best to try and separate the two. It's hard, but as you work up the ladder and up the levels, you're going to have to, because at that point, everybody is. So I think that do your best not to take one to the other. And it's hard. I understand that. But do what you can to try and find that way and understand that at least on the defensive end, you got other people counting on you. On offense, that's on you. But on defense, you got 8 other guys on the field trying to get 3 outs to get y'all through the inning.
Yeah. Hey, Deshaun, think of it this way too. Like you're doing well on defense, right? And maybe you said you're struggling at the plate. Well, maybe change up a little bit of your approach at the plate, right? Instead of working on base hits, maybe you got to bunt a guy over this time. I can't, I'm not going to be able to get a hit here. Maybe you drop down a bunt and use that speed instead of, you're not seeing the ball well, right? Well, maybe work on that push bunt and get it past the pitcher. And then all of a sudden you're on first base. Now it's a triple because you got that speed, right? So that's something that you can do. If you try to stick with what you normally do and you're still struggling, I mean, how are you going to get out of that slump? How are you going to get out of that struggle if you're not trying to make an adjustment, right? So if you go back to the foundation and what you've been working on and go back to thinking of who you are as a player, who you're modeling yourself after, understanding that you're a speed guy, that you're really beneficial to your team on defense, then you're going to understand that, all the weight is not on my shoulders on offense. Yes, I'm the leadoff guy. Maybe all of a sudden you go from, okay, I'm struggling at the plate. Well, let me take 6-7 pitches so that my 2-hole, 3-hole, and 4-hole guy can actually see what this pitcher's got, and I can help them out. I might not be able to see the ball. And then all of a sudden you start picking up the ball a little better. Now you start shooting the ball the other way and you get back after it. All right. Well, you got anything else for us, buddy?
Right now, no. This is all new to me. Learn at the moment.
Well, awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for calling in, man. This is great. We love this. Anytime you need us, man, you need any questions, and you got something that pops up, or you thinking of something, hey, hit us up, man. Let us know. We'll do everything we can to try and help you move on to that next level.
That's it, man. Just slide in that DM. We're right here for you.
Will do.
All right, dude.
Take it easy, buddy.
Bye.
All right, see you. Yo.
Hey, so the one thing I can take away from D right there is sometimes you're gonna go through those struggles.
Yeah.
And at that point, you can't always continue to keep beating your head up against the wall.
Yeah.
You have to make some adjustments, right? You might have to think a little differently, right? You might have to, like you're saying, bunt that runner over. And then guess what? That karma comes into play. And then you get that squibber for a base hit.
Yep.
Or you get that jam job knock. Like my dad always says, you're only one swing away from getting yourself back on track.
That's it.
Absolutely.
It, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, so as we wrap up this episode of Kicking It with your boy Swish, you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch. We hope you've enjoyed today. We've had great guests. We've had Termarr Johnson, Joseph Price, Deshaun Williams, Rhett Lowder, Dylan Cupp, all asking great questions. I mean, we're just, dude, I'm sweating. We've been just wrong.
I know when you get your arm because I see.
I can't put my, no, I got to keep them down, bro. I'm just, woo. We're just going. I'm out of my drink. I'm all out. Dude, this is.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. Every Tuesday, bro, 8:00, man. Tune in, y'all, because this is so much fun. And all these kids calling in with all these questions, man. This is just great. We're doing our part here at Prospect Dugout, man. Helping promote guys, especially somebody like JP, uncommitted guy, 2021. So I'm saying, man, we can use our platform to get himself seen by a lot of different people. So
that's it. Well, Nick, Craig, I mean, I love this show, but we got to wrap it up. It's been an hour and a half, man.
I know, bro. I know, man. 9:30, bro. It's way past my bedtime, bro.
Way past the bedtime. So for everybody, thank you guys so much for joining in and watching us. Thank you on Facebook, YouTube. Thank you guys so much for all the comments, all the likes, all the shares. There's 71 people watching right now live on Facebook. I mean,
this is dope.
Keep going? No, we can't keep going. We got to wrap it. We got to wrap it up.
We'll be here next week, though.
We'll be here next week. That's right. So make sure to catch us on Instagram, all over social media. If you like podcasts, we got a bunch of podcasts on Apple, on Spotify. Go look up Prospect Dugout. If you got an iPhone, if you got an Android, go over to your app store, type in Prospect Dugout and see what comes up. You'd be surprised. So
we got some good stuff coming, baby. We got some good stuff coming.
That's it for Craig Maddox and the man, Nick Swisher. I'm Joel Hartman. Thanks for joining us. We're out of here.
Thanks, everybody.